If you have additional people on your team who want to receive this type of daily digest, you can add in additional search steps and additional conditional email steps to send emails to different people. And some people might want their daily digest, other people might want their weekly digest. And once again, this is a really useful way to not bombard your team with every task they've been assigned, every deal they've been assigned to, every project they're now an owner of. It's really nice to have multiple pieces of information all in one email so that they don't need to get a stream of 10 emails within a span of 15 minutes. One consideration that you should have is when your team's workflows or projects or tasks are really time sensitive, a daily digest or weekly digest is probably not the right way to approach it. So make sure it's the right type of task and the right type of information to be passing on in that batch email.
Thanks for investing in your own knowledge base. I'm Cherry Yang, the founder of Claribase. We're going to be releasing our flagship course, Airtable Mastery, for free. In the course, you can find over 100 videos on topics like design, integration, automations, and interfaces. It's perfect for the Airtable champion who wants to build their database right the first time. You can sign up for the course at the link down below.
So in the email itself, I've written in here your list of tasks, and I've also added in the grid of records. And what we'll take a look at is the preview. So here you can see the to field is sending to myself, Cherry, and the subject line is task list for the next week. So here we are. And as you scroll down, you can see some basic information about that task. Once you're ready, I always encourage everyone who's building an automation to not only do the preview, but also to test it live. When you want to test it live, you can check off run as configured. And then you can click on Run Test. So I've just got my email open on my other screen here, and we'll take a look. Here we are. I received this email a minute ago, and here is my list of tasks. I can see that I've got the name, the project, the assignee, and the due date. In this kind of scenario, it's always nice to get a rough idea of what you're going to send in that email. Your first test does not have to be perfect. We are just trying to get to a point where the email is functional and you feel comfortable moving forward and adjusting on top of it. Even as I've built this email, there are some things that stand out to me. When I am the assignee receiving any kind of weekly digest or daily digest, I don't necessarily want to see the tasks that my colleagues are working on because it's not relevant to me. When I open up my email in the morning and I want to see a list of tasks I need to work on, I don't need to see which projects Nicole is working on. I don't need to see which projects Chantal is working on. And I just want to see what tasks do I need to look at today. So I know that's one thing I want to adjust. At the moment, I also have this daily digest going out every single day, showing me tasks that I have to do in the next 7 days. This is a little bit of a redundant email because every single day I might see a really long list of tasks that's not relevant to me all of the time. So I might want to adjust the cadence. Maybe I want to receive one email every single week, or I want to receive a daily email of tasks due that day. So there's another adjustment that I want to make. Finally, we can see that these due dates are not actually in any kind of order. We've got November 11th, November 11th, November 8th, and then back to November 11th. So if I wanted to make this really useful for myself or for someone on my team, I want to be sorting the due date based on what's coming up next. So when you're building slightly more complex automations or multi-step automations, conditional automations, you can always try to get something working and then adjust from there. And there's going to be lots of testing. So very often we might spend half of our time building and configuring that automation, and then we spend the other half of the time testing, or sometimes even more than half of the time testing. That's a very natural thing as you're building databases. So don't be alarmed if you feel like a lot of your time is being spent testing. At this point, I suggest we go back into our base and make some adjustments. The first thing is the trigger. I think as we were talking earlier, it doesn't necessarily make sense to, in my case at least, to look at all of the tasks I have due in the next 7 days every single day, because I know there's probably going to be some tasks I'm not going to get to, but show up on my to-do list every single day. So in that case, what I can do is actually change my interval type to weeks instead of days. And Airtable is going to ask me, how frequently do you want to receive this weekly digest? So you can say every week, in which case you would select 1, or every 2 weeks, in which case you can select 2. And I want to receive this weekly digest on Monday mornings. And I want to receive it at, I'm not really going to be in the office at 6 a.m. So I'll set a more realistic time. Maybe I can receive this at 8 a.m. If your office gets in at 9 or 10, I think 8 a.m. is probably a good amount of time so that it's fresh in people's inboxes. And once again, you can test a trigger. Airtable will tell you that the next time your trigger or your email automation will fire is November 7th. Next, we're going to find the records. Earlier, I had one condition where the due date was within the next week. Given I'm setting this email automation up for myself, I'm going to add another condition to say that the assignee contains Cherry. When it comes to the assignee, you might have a collaborator column in your project management base. It's entirely fine to use that, or you can use a single select pick list, or in my case, I've got a linked field. So there are different ways of setting up that assignee or collaborator column, and it's really up to you how you want to do it. So now when I test this, find record step, what I'm getting is fewer tasks, because now I have 2 conditions instead of 1, and I'm only searching for tasks assigned to Cherry due within the next 7 days. And one more time, I'm going to generate a preview. The preview also has 2 tasks. All of this seems to be working, so I'll run an actual test. All right. And here we go. So my new version of the email has 2 tasks inside of it. Now I can already see if I'm that team member who receives this email, this is a lot more relevant for me and a lot more timely, because on Monday mornings, it's going to help me plan out my week. Of course, new tasks can get added, but right off the bat, I can see what tasks I've got going that week or due that week. And this is a very helpful thing to have set up for your team. One more thing I'd like to mention is that if you've got multiple people on your team who want to receive this digest, you can also add additional search steps and additional conditional actions so that you can send it to different people and have everybody get the type of digest that they want.